Good afternoon. It is not very often that you can be disappointed in a draw in a title race against your closest rivals, but that's what we are because that was a game. Well, in the end, certainly in the second half, I think we can all agree we probably should have won. A draw is not an unfair result because City had chances too. But lots to talk about. We're joined by Brian and Sir Z. Gentlemen, how are our heart rates?
Huh. Try to calm down. Try to calm down on that.
Yeah, I'm a lot calmer than what I thought I would be. I'm relieved,
Let me
definitely.
just before we delve into it, we're on a short one today, so we're not going to delve too tactically into things because that'll be tomorrow night, the tomorrow night crew's job. But it would be almost obvious to say the biggest winners here were Arsenal, but
hmm
they still have to play City. There's going to be points dropped by these two teams at some point. So
Yeah,
ultimately, is the silver lining that because we've played them both now, we are actually the winners ultimately because somebody's going to drop points in that game. Brian, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. That's But like I said on Thursday, I didn't think a draw was going to be that bad of a result. I mean, and I think that I think for either side, a draw is not a bad result. So yeah, I think that looking down the line right there, I mean, Arsenal has to play Villa, and they also have to play City. So I mean, it's two kind of tough matches right there. So I mean, I think I'm okay with this result. I think that we're going to lose some missed chances, but I'm still okay with it.
So Z, it was a game of two halves, as the cliche goes, and that seems to be a lot for Liverpool this season. We weren't disjointed by any stretch of the imagination, but
no,
we didn't seem to be getting it together quite as well as we can in the first half. But the second half was almost a different game, and there were
yeah,
long periods where it just looked like it was the ball's going in and we're getting the goals, and that's it. But
yeah.
the ball seemed to be going to the one player in the field today who didn't seem to want to get it into the goal. In terms of the game, how disappointed were you that certain players who won't be named right now couldn't win that game for us? Because it could have been 4-1 easily, couldn't it?
It could have been. I'd take it though. I mean, they hit the they hit the post at the end. Doku did, and Foden hit the crossbar. It is what it is. It's like Diaz. It's like what Nunes was. He's getting the chances. On any other day, maybe we get one of them in at least. But I'll take it. It is what it is. I think Pep and Klopp's last game against each other, it can only end one way, I guess, and this is probably what it was. Um, First half, you know, Gomez, Foden had the better of him. Um, Haaland hardly touched the ball. I mean, we can't come away disappointed. It, you know, we showed that we have a steal to win, and it's like Brian was saying, it's like it's in our hands now. Arsenal, Man City, one of them going to drop points, and if we play like what we play like this for the rest of the season, it can only go one way, I think.
Brian, let's just talk about that sub. I didn't expect Nunes to be taken out, and maybe he did look tired, but so did Diaz, and Diaz wasn't really helping us with what he was doing in the positions he was getting himself into. But Gakpo was a real disappointment when he came on, wasn't he? He literally just walked like the result didn't matter to him.
I mean, this really just made me miss losing Jota so much more. I mean, because
Mm.
this is a perfect match where Jota could have dropped right in as a sub right there and came there and actually made a big difference. I don't know, man. It's with it seems like I have the same thing with Gravenberch as I had with Gapco. It's just the jogging about like you were mentioning in Discord right there. It just seemed like he just wasn't there. Even when he had that chance to shoot, I don't know whether he has lacks confidence, but he tried to pass it off to Mo right there. Man, take the shot. I mean, you're there in the center of the box right there. I mean, you have to go. If you have a striker's mentality, you take that shot, and he didn't do it. So I just don't know. I'm at a loss of words with that.
So Z, I don't want to dwell too much on the drawbacks of some of the players. So let's focus on, I think, 3 players who were key to us. Scott Michael mentioned Harvey Elliott. I think he was amazing for the whole game. I thought Endo was like without Endo, I don't know what that game was going to be like if we had to drop McAllister in there in the 6th. But Kelleher as well came out clutch when we absolutely needed him. That really was a good spine to build on, wasn't it, for the performance parts that were great.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Scott's saying, Elliot, I don't know how he keeps going, and he's looking undroppable now, which is probably why he's playing every game. Kelleher again saved us. Van Dijk, my God, like I don't think he can get better than how he was when he first joined us. He's just taking his game to another level. And Endo and Maka, that is our spine. Salah didn't really do too much when he came on, but no, our midfield, and we said that our midfield was going to be important. Gomez as well, he stepped up in the second half. We have a lot more positives and negatives to take away from this.
Salah didn't do much when he came on, except for give us all a heart attack when he went down holding his leg and not standing up instantly. But I want to mention another player that we may have worried about subconsciously before the game started. But Kwanzaa, apart from maybe once in the first half, didn't really put a foot wrong, did he, Brian?
Oh yeah, I mean both him and that's the whole side right there on there because Bradley came there and had Silva's number like that so many times in that first half. I mean, I would say he was probably one of the brighter spots that we had during when City had so much possession of the ball right there. I mean, but yeah, I mean Kwanzaa didn't know. I mean, it was a solid match for both these kids. It just gives you so much optimism right there for a couple years on. I mean, being one's 21 and the other is like 20. Right? I think it's what Kwanzaa is 21. So I mean, come on. I mean, he's not even anywhere near close to being mature as a center back. So I mean, so we've got lots of bright spots right there to look at in the future. And one more note on Bradley. Trent's gonna have to be above his game right there and take that spot from Bradley at the moment because I mean because Bradley is showing the ability to defend and the ability to go forward, things that we've had lots of problems with Trent being able to do both. I mean, so hey, I mean it's Bradley's spot to lose at the moment, in my opinion.
So Z, let's get to the controversial part. I can't see in any way, shape, or form if that penalty shout at the end isn't given today, why it has been given several times in other occasions. So like I don't put a tinfoil hat on for pretty much anything, but there has to be something up where they're not giving a penalty in that game for something that we know next week another player will do the exact same thing and it will be a definite penalty, no questions asked. So are we right to be insanely paranoid about this?
I'm already paranoid about the rest, but I think if that challenge happened earlier on in the game, like 60th minute or 70th minute, it would have been given. I think it was a too big a call to make in the last 5 minutes of a game and to decide potential title decided game. And I don't think any referee, unless you're what's the name, Kalini, no referee would have made that call. It was too big a call to make.
But my question would be, like, should there be such a thing as too big a call to make?
No,
that essentially means the laws of the game are contextual, and we don't want that, do we?
No, absolutely not. But that's why English referees can't get into the World Cup. We have the best product, but we have idiots refereeing the games. And Michael Oliver's our best referee, which he potentially is the best referee in England, but. No, if you're going to make emotional calls like that, then no, that's exactly why our referees don't go to the World Cup.
And I wouldn't class English referees as idiots, which they are, but Brian would think that they're more cowards.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it goes back to the thing. I mean, why exactly has nobody going to that TV to the screen on the sidelines? I mean, how many times have you seen it this year where they'll actually go and step over there and look at it and look at calls? I mean, it's like, what's the point now? I mean, okay, you're just gonna have somebody sitting over there in a studio making these massive calls every match. without the official code they're doing. You might as well just go there and have a video, have just a robot out there in the middle of the pitch right there, and running it. Let every call get made in the studio down in London every match now.
Yeah.
So see, wasn't there another one? Unless I blinked, where we had a shot that wasn't given for a corner, that was a corner, or was that given as a corner in the end? I had a lot of like putting my head into the pillow when things were going wrong. I thought it was Elliot took a shot or something like that, and it deflected off something.
I think we should have got a goal kick out of that, and then definitely Walker. He should have got at least a booking for taking down Salah the way he did. It's a bad cause, but I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I think different referees, we could have had worse calls, I guess. But we come away without losing. So,
yep.
Brian, who do you think is the happier manager right now? Is it Pep or is it Klopp?
Honestly, I think it's Klopp probably. I think that, because with the lineup that he had played out there with these kids, I mean, and knowing that you have all these guys that are going to be coming off here after the international break and to pretty much come back unscathed for the most part. I mean, you dropped 2 points, but think of what you have coming up after the international break. All these players, you have Jones coming back. I mean, you have lots of things, lots of good things, positives to come there to look forward to in the coming weeks. So yeah, I think that Klopp's happier right there, and I know that again, like I said. Pep has to go and face Arsenal next week. That's not going to be an easy match for them right there. With it, you got a free scoring Arsenal side at the moment, which I don't even know how Lego Head got that to happen right there. But against a City side that honestly, like I said last week, I think they're a beatable side. Look today. How many shots on goal did Haaland even have today? Did he even have one? Maybe one. We basically isolated the supposed number one forward in the world. So come on. I think that Pep is definitely gonna be worried,
especially with Edison injured.
Yeah,
we don't know how long.
And that looked like a bad hip one as well, not like an easy one. That looked like it was one of those.
Look a Thiago hip.
But here's the question I have for you, Susie. Let's flip it over to the other side. De Bruyne having a little hissy fit there when he got subbed off, and continuing it afterwards. It looked like with Pep sitting on the bench. Is that an indication of just how high stakes the game was and how important De Bruyne thinks he is to the team? Or is that hinting at a little bit more stress and pressure on that team than we may have originally thought?
No, I think that's just De Bruyne himself. You can tell he puts everything, he leaves everything on that pitch. And he knows he's the difference maker in that team. Once it came off, Haaland hardly got a touch of the ball anyway. But once it came off, Haaland wasn't going to get another touch of that ball. Obviously Rodri's important, but De Bruyne has shown that in previous matches before as well. He's passionate about the game, and he leaves everything on that pitch. I'd love to have him in our team, really, but it's a moot point. But I think Pep will probably be the happier though. Going back to that question, he got away with one today, because them chances that they felt to Salah or even maybe Nunes, or even McAllister, they would have gone in. So I think he knows he got away with one.
Brian, let's talk about their goal from the corner. I watched it. I saw who scored it again for
Stones.
Yeah, Stones. I saw Stones moving away from Nunes, and Nunes not tracking him, which is essentially what a forward would do when he's defending the corner, because he forgets what the whole point of defending the corner is. But was that just a dereliction of duty for us, or was that a well-worked free kick from Man City based on maybe a weakness they saw in us?
I guess you could say a little bit of both right there. It's definitely something that they probably worked on right there, because they saw something with our markings, when they look at tape and stuff like that. But I do think it was a little bit of a dereliction of duty, because it's like even Galley was saying on there that that back back 10 years ago, right there, you would have had somebody marking that front post. I mean, in there, and I think that was the one thing that zonal marking right there causes a lot of these issues. I mean, with it, and so I mean, it lets people go off again. Again, right there, we go to this whole thing right there with with the pushing in the box right there about, I hate to go there and draw that controversy up again right there, but you go with somebody says, hey, guess what? A push the box is allowed. Another person says a push the box is not allowed. There's so much subjection right now with calls with these penalties now with the in the box right there with you don't know what's what. But I mean, and Keller really had a piece of that ball. I think that, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that he was unlucky. I think that, that I mean, that is near side goal. I mean, he could have possibly get there, got a save on it. It's a little too far for him, but it is what it is. Like, I mean, it's a point. I mean, we'll move on from us after next week.
So Z, I'm old school. So when I was growing up, as far as we were all concerned, somebody gets on the near post, and you need the goalkeeper to leave at the back post. Is this was that goal just endemic on how we've forgotten the basics of the game sometimes, just to make sure that we faithfully follow a new tactical trend?
I mean, if you listen to the commentators, apparently it's something that they worked on in their training ground, City's training ground. We still talk about Trent's corner against Barcelona and how genius it was. It was just a genius corner kick. I mean, if you're going to leave someone like Nunes to cover that, then we're asking for trouble. Maybe Verge could have instructed the back line a little bit better. But and Keller was unlucky. You can't really. I don't think we can pinpoint the blame on anyone really. It was a good corner, and we just got caught out. And hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Brian, if Kelleher got unlucky on that one, he got extremely lucky on the punch that deflected off Foden there. But here's my question: for the performance he had today, aside from the goal on him, but if that was Alisson that had that performance, we would be raving about him and why he's the world's number one, wouldn't we?
Oh, absolutely. And again, I think that Kelleher is easily probably a top 6 keeper in our league. I mean, right now you can definitely say that. So the saves he made, sure. I mean, the Phil Foden save right there was the actual Phil Foden save he made right there. Besides the FIFA shot that was there. I mean, that's video game stuff right there that you would see right there. But his save that he had on Phil Foden, the solo save right there was fantastic. I mean, and I think that Keller has really over the past couple of weeks right there has saved our skin quite a few times right there. And I feel very comfortable with him between the sticks. And I mean, right now, Alisson is probably the best keeper in the world right there. But as Klopp said right there, we probably have one of the best. We have the best sub in the world right now in our hands. It's just kind of sad to say that one of those guys is not going to be here next year. I don't know which one it is, but one of them's not going to be here.
So Z, let's move up to the other end of the field. How frustrating was Diaz? If he'd just put his foot through at least one of those nice shots that was laid on the play for him, we could have been looking at a 2-1 win or more, because City started to come out of their shell. A lot after the equaliser, and then went back into their shell once they kind of almost like they realised the draw was a good result for them. But what is the story with Diaz? Because put those on, let's say he's not a Liverpool player, but put those on Harry Kane's feet and their goals. Just one touch and it's in the net, or it's at least on target. But Diaz failed that so miserably so many times. It was almost like he truly was a winger playing up front. So do we persist with him because he does create some stuff or create some good opportunities, or do we get a better Diaz?
What, for this season?
For next season.
Finishing off, for next season? Who's out there? I mean, I like Diaz. He does. He's like Nunes. He finds the space, creates opportunities. He does slow our attack down, definitely, for sure. I don't think he's got a first-time shot in him. I think the biggest thing of him, we're still comparing him to Sadio Mane, and you can't compare the two. Like Mane was on a different planet to everyone else. Him and Salah were up there, and I think Diaz is a victim of that. But I'd rather have him on our team than against our team. As Gakpo, I don't know what's going on with him. I'd rather talk about Gakpo than Diaz. I think Diaz is just unlucky. He's got it in him, and it's like Nunes. I think we just need to stick with him, and eventually things will just come right for him.
Brian, on to Gakpo. Here's my controversial question for you. Do you think Gakpo has essentially just realised he shouldn't have made the move to Liverpool?
Oh, it's hard to say right there because was it a move maybe too soon for him? But again, you look at how he was in the World Cup. I mean, he had a pretty good World Cup. I mean, with him, so he has the potential with it. I mean, would he be still doing the same exact thing right there with the United side when he was linked with United? I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's with him. I mean, I think that again with Gakpo right there, it's connectivity with him right there, and it's like I feel like a lot of times with him, he's a young player, and he still hasn't got that connection with where to play at. Again, we played him at multiple spots. We played him as an attacking midfielder. We played him out wide. We played him in the middle. I mean, we played him at all kinds of different spots. It's like we just have to figure out a way to come to settle him in a spot where he's going to fit, where he'll fit right. I mean, maybe the front three right there that we're playing right there isn't meant for a Gakpo type player. I mean, it's like it's hard to say. I mean, with where you should put him at. I mean, so I mean, again, I'm hoping the next manager can figure out what exactly to do with him. And if it doesn't work out right there, and it doesn't work out with some footballers, and I wish him the best of luck if it doesn't right there. But I mean, I think the one thing we have to do is figure out what can we do with him while he's still a Liverpool player.
But my question would be more like, despite the positional changes, Brian, he doesn't exude any sort of energy when he comes on the field. On a team that is totally all energy.
I agree totally.
So is there a level of apathy, maybe, do you think, a regret even in that? Because if you're coming on in a big game with the potential to be the match winner in a title game, surely you want to run around every blade of grass knowing you've only got 30 minutes to do it in, instead of doing what he did, which was have a picnic.
I mean, honestly, right there, I don't think that the sub was the right sub. I mean, I don't think he was the right sub to make. But I mean, it's almost the point right there was what sub could we have made right there? I mean, it looked like Nunes was starting to get gassed a little bit right there. I mean, yeah, I thought the Diaz right there missed some chances and all that with it right there. But again, maybe Gakpo would have been a better swap out for Diaz in there right there, and had Nunes still stay in the middle right there. But again, I agree with you. I mean, he slowed the ball down a lot, and he didn't take the chances that he probably should have took. I mean, like that one spot right there in the middle of the penalty area, he should have shot instead of trying to make a decision to pass off the no. I mean, but again, is he regretful about the move? I don't know. I mean, everyone wants to play at the top side, and I mean, I'd rather play with us and be a United player. I mean,
I think Man United players probably think the same thing. Timuchin, the boss man. How much meditation have you done between the end of the game and coming on here?
Yeah, I needed some time off, man. If I get on air right afterwards, it would not be pretty. And then the funny thing is, Fenerbahce was playing at the same time, and they got like a really dodgy VAR call go for them. So I guess that kind of evens it out for me for the day. But, geez, man. I mean, normally I was watching all the way till the 90th, kind of like proud of what I was seeing, happy to see what I was seeing, and, when the lineups come out, you're like, what, a draw is good enough. Like, we're okay with the draw kind of a thing. And then I was like, man, we're going to feel like 2 points lost. And that feeling went to just anger at the end with those last two calls. Because, I mean, I feel like both of them can easily be given. And I think both of them would have been freaking given if it was against us. And that's what pisses me off. And I mean, what's next? The Premier League is going to be the sponsor on their fucking jerseys. It's just, I mean, bazillion violations. I mean, they basically, not only they do all these violations, they pretty much own the PGMOL, looks like, at the same time. that just like angers the hell out of me because I think it's so inconsistent. Could we have finished the game with Diaz and stuff? I'm sure you guys were talking about earlier. Yeah, but that one does not affect the other, or one does not make the other one okay.
So going forward, we have that Arsenal United game to look forward to. Do we now just essentially have to match all of their results to get to the end? Or do we have to make sure we are perfect so that there's no doubt, especially given what Timuchin has just said?
No, I think we're just going to stay perfect. We've got to just concentrate on ourselves. If we can just control our own games, I think Arsenal will beat Manchester City next week, especially if Ederson's out. Arsenal have that run. Even like yesterday, you've got Havertz scoring. Like, that's equivalent of Origi winning games for us. So, I don't think Arsenal will get this close to the title, but we just got to concentrate on our own games. And again, we're still, we drew against the best team in the world. We're still with kids on the pitch, and we still haven't got our full squad back. It's in. I personally, I believe it's in our hands, and we just got to. As long as we keep winning our games, the rest will take care of itself.
Brian, how confident are you that is true? I think we have one or two tough games on paper left, and the rest on paper are supposed to be games that we should be winning if we want to win the league, but it doesn't work out that way. So how confident are you going forward for the rest of the season?
I mean, I think that again, it's going to be these. It's not going to be these top sides that we play right there. It's going to be the deciders right there. It's going to be these like nagging ones down there toward the bottom that just want to be just want to be damage mitigation kind of guys right there. The ones that don't want to go at us. I mean, because they're the ones that we have the problems with right with. I mean, again, right there, I'm not scared of we have Villa. I think still play. We have United to play. I mean, I'm not really afraid of them as much right there. I'm afraid of playing Brentford and those guys like that down toward the bottom right there, just because of how they play. I mean, that they're going to come in there, they're going to park the bus, and they're going to come in there and just absorb, and try to hit us on counters, and those are things that frustrate us. But I think like Sir Z said, we just got to go out there and play our matches. Go out there and keep on chugging along right there. And go for as maximum points as we can, and then see how everything falls, how the chips fall down. But I think that I honestly think that next week, I think that our best result for next week would be Arsenal and City drawing each other. I mean, if they draw each other right there, then it's really game on for us. I mean, I think that we can just go and just run the gambit after that.
Timuchin, of all the injured players we have that are due to come back within the next few weeks, who's going to be the most important one for the run-in?
Damn, that's a good one, man. I would say Jota, to be honest with you. If he's going to be able to, I don't know when he's going to come back, but he can come back at the end of the season and pop up, Villa away and score a goal and kind of like get us the season. I mean, Jones is obviously critical for midfield, but I do like the midfield we have now, and it feels like we have some kids that can help in midfield. That's the area that, I know Dan's and stuff like that, but still we need more. Be able to rotate and get some guys in, especially with Thursday games, weekend games, and stuff like that. But I would say probably Jota, even though he's probably like the one that's furthest back.
Suzy, final thoughts on number one, the game, and number two, how it's going to impact the title race for us going forward.
Just a mixture of emotions with the games. I mean, we're all nervous before the start, and then I think after Timuchin came on, I was a little bit more relieved. And then when we went one down, I thought it was going to be one of them days. And then when we scored, it was just like, okay. And then I really thought we were going to win this. The amount of chances Diaz got, and, Ederson going off, I thought the game was there for a taking. And then we didn't lose. That's my biggest takeaway from the game. And, now I'm not upset. And I'm upset with the refs, but that's been like that the whole season. And it is what it is. But I really do think we can win the rest of these games. If City are we don't have to play Arsenal again, which is great. I think Spurs is the banana skin for us at home, and definitely I'd love to have Jota back. But here's a question: if Allison comes back, does he get a spot back, or are we keeping Killer?
I think that's good for the Monday night crowd. That's too.
Oh, thanks. Way to dump that on us.
Brian, your final thoughts on the game and your thoughts on the result, on its impact going forward.
I mean, my final thought on it was I thought that I called it. I thought it was going to be a draw right there. I think that it's a damage mitigation on both sides right there. I think that we had the opportunity to win the match and we could have got 3 points out of it. But I don't think this is a death blow to either side right there. And I think that that there's still 10 more matches to go right there, and as the media tried to hype this up as a title decider, this was far from a title decider right there. And I think that I think they were in a good spot. I think I'm okay with this. And I think that again, yeah, we have a couple of harder matches, but I think that City and Arsenal have harder matches, and I think that again, let's just go player. Let's just run the gamut. Let's just do what we can do.
Timuchin, your final thoughts on the game and the impact it will have going forward, if any.
Yeah, it's odd, right? It feels like 2 points lost, which, I didn't expect to say, especially around halftime or when the lineup came out and stuff. So I think we should still be proud of some of the performances out there, the effort that was out there. I mean, and that was like I'm sure Klopp said it after the game, that was a proper game of football. Like it really was. And then that just pisses me off. The last referee decisions kind of like giving a different take to this. We had chances. I mean, we're acting like they didn't have the chances either, but they hit the post and stuff like that too. Yep. So it's like an excellent game overall. 2 great teams. I'm pretty happy with what we got out of it with the injuries, but it's sad. It weirdly feels like 2 points lost, but in the title race, 10 games to go. Them playing each other is a huge bonus, especially since the game is in Manchester. Tottenham and Villa, I think we talked about this before, but I think those are the 2 teams that's actually going to decide. This is a weird year, but normally the last 2-3 years it's been what they do against each other. I think this is a year where what they do against a team like Villa and Tottenham is going to determine the title winner.
So I think on that note, it just remains to say, make sure you join tomorrow morning for your morning coffee, so we are all fresh and recovered. We all hope and ready for
no promises.
No promises. But more in-depth discussion on the game and everything around it tomorrow evening for the Monday podcast, and that is definitely something you want to be a part of. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter accounts, and you're in our Discord channel. So all the crazy conversations, and then follow us on Patreon so you can get all the exclusive content that is going to be coming down the pipeline very, very soon. There's some very good stuff we're going to have on that too. And just remains to say to everybody, let's all take a breath, let's all calm down for the day and see what we can do, and then we'll talk it all probably with calmer heads, we hope, from tomorrow onwards. So peace out, everybody. Here's the funky music.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.